Visibility Corner with Barbara J. Beckley and experts that impact their visibility strategies and they impact the world. I am so delighted every time I have the Visibility Corner, I get a chance to talk to some wonderful and amazing individuals that are really putting a spotlight to the world. I always call these people world changers, lighthouse of the world, anything that's basically, they're putting themselves to the side really, and they're helping others. And when I have women come on, I call them queens, and I have a wonderful, amazing, fantastic queen today. I've been knowing her for a while, and I'm telling you, her heart is gold. Her heart is golden. And she just really represents just the caring and the nurturing of just helping others, especially when it comes to women and their stories in their life and what they're doing. I always tell people when you understand another person's story, then you'll understand their value and their worth even more. And that's what she does with women. She pulls out those stories out of them that what they dealt with, what they're dealing with, what they've done in the world. And I'm telling you, the value, the increase in their own value goes up because now you can appreciate what these women do. And that's what Audra does. I look at her as like the godmother for women that comes up with these stories. So let me just give you, she's a corporate veteran. Audra has a 25-year experience of being one of the few women in the room, and in many cases, the only one. While the women may have been outnumbered, they were all uniquely exceptional. She became learning more about them and their experience. It became increasingly clear that these women were contributing significant value to their organizations, families, and careers. These contributions were either taken for granted or overlooked, sometimes even by themselves. Audra aspires to change that, and she has. From that, Women in the Arena was created, it was born. It's a platform unlike any other. It's a celebration. And her motto is celebrating women doing extraordinary things in plain sight. Now, as you can hear her background, you see she's a star of her own. So we're going to get to do a little bit more, a little bit digging with Audra and understand who she is and what she's doing right after this. We'll be right back.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Hi,
Yes.
Barbara. How are you?
Hi, Queen Audra. How are you doing today, lady?
I'm really, really good. Thank you.
Well, you're shining. You're glowing.
Well, I have a ring light. Ring light. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm naturally glowing. No help at all.
Okay, so Audra just gave everybody a secret weapon when it comes to coming on the screen. A ring light works.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, Miss Queen Audra, thank you first of all. Before we get into conversation, thank you for being on the Visibility Corner with myself. I love to bring on you and other experts to really just talk about, first of all, your story, just like you do with the women in the arena, and then really just dig a little bit deeper on how visibility has really increased or certain things you learned from being visible in your own lane. But before we get into all that, I want people to really get to know the star that you are. So I know you were in corporate for a while, which I know about corporate because I've been there too. And you're very vet in that area. But then something inspired you, like I said earlier, to create Woman in the Arena. Can you tell a little bit more backstory of that?
I can. And it started with anger. And I know
Mm,
that is going to blow everybody's mind that what sparked this inspiration was anger. And what the anger was from was being in these corporate situations where as a female you are killing yourself, you can't just be average. In order to be recognized, you have to be exemplary. You have to outperform everybody, especially your male counterparts. And what I noticed was because the value that women were bringing to their organizations, to their families, their communities, didn't look like their male counterparts, it wasn't being given the same weight and the same value. And these women are extraordinary. They are remarkable. These are just brilliant, brilliant women. And I got angry and decided that I was tired of waiting for everybody to become enlightened and waiting for the world to change. So I sat with that anger and I said, what am I going to do with this? This is powerful. What am I going to do with it? I could either let it incinerate me from the inside out and just make me angrier and bitter, or I could use it for fuel. And that's what I chose to do, is use it as fuel to help me change the world. And I landed on podcasting because I was blessed with a mouth that likes to run a mouth, run 100 miles an hour. That's my dad would say I was vaccinated with a phonograph needle. So for those of you that are old enough to know what a phonograph is, and I thought, well, I'm really good at talking to people. People like to share with me. That's part of my gift, is that people feel comfortable with me and they like to share. So I thought, well, I'm going to create a space that women can feel comfortable with being vulnerable and being transparent and being authentic. And I want to get to know them so then I can shine a spotlight on them. And that's really where this came from, is it was born from anger. And I just decided I wasn't going to settle just for that. And so I thought, if there's no one else going to do it, I guess I will.
Wow. I love how you brought that out that way, where, because some people say, well, it came from, something I learned or a skill, or it came from certain thing that happened in my life. But you just put it right there. You said it came from anger. I was upset at what was going on at that time, what was going on in corporate and everything. And you say, either I can sit here and deal with it like a lot of people do, or I can go the opposite direction and make this anger turn to something beautiful. And that's
Yeah.
where Woman Arena was birthed from
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that just tells me that, if a person's really upset about something, you can do something about it. You can really put your foot down and say, you know what, instead of sitting here talking about how upset I am about it and everything, let me find some ways that can help, and maybe something could come out of this. And I love how out of your anger, what this beautiful thing came out of. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Because I didn't want to put more negativity into the world. We've got plenty of it. I don't
Yeah.
need to add to it. And honestly, it would just become noise anyway. No one
Yes.
would listen to it because it seems to be always there. Negativity seems to be this energy that runs in the background of our lives right now. And I decided that I didn't want to just run in that background. I wanted to elevate, and the only way I know how to elevate is through positivity and through love. And so that's what I did. I thought, well, I will anchor myself in the energy of anger and use it as fuel to elevate beyond that. So that's where it came from.
I love it. And like you said, Audra, there is, enough of negativity. Yeah, like you said, for the world. People say that you wake up and you already have 5 or 6 things in your mind that's like, well, how's this day gonna be? Da, da, da. People ask us, I was like, well, can't the day just be nice? Can't you just get up and say, I'm alive, I'm breathing, But like you said, there's more negativity than positivity at times. And you didn't add to that. You were like, no, I need to find something here, because the negative already is you being upset about what's going on. That was enough. So I love how you did that. And also, what you did, you said you wanted to bring, just with the women, bring their stories out, let them talk. You're a good listener. You're using the wonderful tool that you have is your voice. And you said, let me use my voice to help other people get their voice out there, women get their voice out there. So amazing, amazing. So I know your motto. I love your motto where it says Women's Arena is celebrating women doing extraordinary things in plain sight. So how do you believe recognizing and acknowledging the value within us and each other can lead a positive change in society, in a professional environment?
Well, I think women are extremely unique in that you have the ability to do so much and so well and make it look effortless. So then you start to take that remarkable piece of you and you start to take it for granted. So if you start to take it for granted, so does everybody else around you, and you sort of silo yourself. But when you start to hear stories of other women doing amazing things, then maybe you start to feel a little bit about that there's amazing things about yourself. You stop taking pieces of yourself for granted because you're like, gosh, she's amazing. She's done this, that, and the other thing. But then if you step and wait and go, wait a minute, well, so have I. So you can start to elevate that feeling of appreciation for yourself and other women, because of all the women I've interviewed, 99% of the time, they have more in common with me and with other people than you would think. Whereas more things in common amongst us than there are differences. And it's differences that allows us to learn from each other if you're open to it.
Yes. And the biggest thing you said, well, everything you said was wonderful, but I love what you said. If you're open to learning the differences of each other. And I think that's really important because you miss out on so much when you don't have that ear to hearing other women or men, just in general, talk about who they are. And like I said earlier, people's stories, and I look at people's stories, I say, the value of them even equates even higher when you hear certain stories. And I know, just that you can give some examples of stories that you heard from women on your show that you probably was like, oh my God. I mean, I can't believe she got through that and she's doing whatever she's doing in her life.
Oh, many of them. I can give you a couple right off the bat. Your friend and mine, Dr. Zorn, her story haunts me in the best possible way. She was an 8th grade dropout at 23. She literally only had, and sorry, she has words to say too. But at 23, she was a mom of 3 kids, I believe, 8th grade education. And she just put one foot in front of the other and decided that she wanted more. She did not want to be a familial statistic. She did not want to perpetuate the narrative that she had been born into. So one day at a time, by just stepping forward, she went from having just an 8th grade education to now a PhD, runs several businesses, and is changing the world, literally changing the world as we speak. And her story just shook me to the core. I have another guest who taught me so much. You'd asked me before the show, have I ever cried? I cried during this one. Her name is Tony Riddle, and she became an accidental documentarian. And she had made a post on Facebook about what it's like to be an African American woman and the experience that she has with racism. And that post became a movie, became a documentary, and she interviewed 30 people that they gave her their story of their first experience with racism. And it stunned me. It shook me to the core. As a matter of fact, I feel it right now as if I was right back there.
Wow.
I didn't know. It just, and like I said, it haunts me in the best possible way because I feel obligated now that I know better. Like Maya Angelou says, now that you know better, you have to do better. I'm obligated to do better. And those are just 2 stories of just 100+ stories that I've been able to tell.
Yes. I was just thinking that's why you're called the Chief Inspirational Officer because you bring that out just from you having your platform and people feeling comfortable in telling their stories. Like you mentioned the 2 ladies that I heard both of their stories through your Women of the Arena, and I know we know one, Dr. Zora, and I was like taken away, like wow. And then when you see them, you see all the what they're doing now, you wouldn't even fathom what are the things that they went through. And then that makes me say to myself, because when I look at your shows and the women you interview, I always check in me and say, okay, Barbara, you have no excuses. None. Look at what Audra's bringing you. What is she showing you here? And you're talking about a headache or you got a stomach, you don't feel good. These they've been through so much. It's like, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
But these women also demonstrate how human they really are. You know, their stories are not, you know, they're not linear. They're not one way. They've they've had setbacks, they've had disappointments, they've had achievements, and then they got knocked down a couple of pegs. I mean, their stories are much like ours, where it's just this roller coaster of a journey to experience with. But the whole point is for them to be able to feel a little bit more comfortable with seeing themselves in other people. You know, if you can say, "Oh, Barbara, you feel that way? I feel that way. How is that possible? How do you and I have the same feelings, but we're so different?" It's because
Yeah.
we're very much more alike than we are
Yes.
different. So those are the things that change me. Those are the things that propel me forward, even on the days where I'm thinking, does what I'm doing matter? Is it making a difference? Is anybody listening? Is this thing on? I mean, I have those days of doubt, but then it never fails. I get this nudge from the universe, God, whatever it is that you believe in. I get a nudge, and it usually comes in the form of someone dropping me a note that says, "Thank you for that story. You're doing a good job." Or in this case, winning an award that nudges me forward that says, you're on the right track. Keep going, kid. And that's what the same thing with all these women too. They got a little nudge that said, "You're on the right track. Keep going, kid."
Yeah. And it gives hope, like you said, Queen. It really gives hope for others when they listen to the stories. They see what you, first of all, they see what you've done and how you create this platform. And I love this. Every time I hear the title "Woman in the Arena," I don't know. I always think of this big Roman arena and all these people cheering and cheering on, and you have the woman like you and the woman's talking like right in the middle of the arena, and they're just
Yep.
cheering and cheering. I don't know why I always have that image when I think of your platform. It just pops like that.
Well, I have a couple of images that actually help me focus. I have that same image, but then at the same time, when you when you start to feel criticism and doubt and all of those things that sort of creep in, I picture those things, and though if they come from people, as being up in the nosebleeds, being in the cheap seats. And when you look up, you realize that they're so far up there and so far removed that you can barely see them. So then I remind myself, you don't have to listen to the people that are yelling at you from the cheap seats because they don't have a great view. So I knock those criticisms away. And sometimes those criticisms are my own. Don't get it
I know.
twisted. Sometimes it's my own.
Self
But I
talk.
yes, all that negative self-doubt, self-talk, all that stuff, call it childhood trauma, call it whatever. But it's some of those times those enemies are my own thoughts. And I have to push them away and say those thoughts aren't real. They belong in the cheap seat. You're down here with all of these other warrior women just trying to duke it out and do the best they can.
Yes. I didn't. I'm glad you said the other part of that because that's really important to say, Queen. That was really important to say about that other part of the arena and how that other plays.
Mhm.
Because I was thinking about the celebration of the woman, but then, like you said, also on the other side, we always have those self doubters. Those people are always
Mhm.
going to talk, and then if you just see them way far away, you can't see them anymore. You put it in your mind like, okay, you're way up there somewhere. I don't want to even. You're not control me in that area. I'm down here with all the other heavyweights. I'm down with all the warriors,
Yeah.
and I like that. I like that a lot. So now I want to go into a little bit because of the visibility corner, and I always like to ask my guests, especially in the lane that you're in. So already, Queen, you are to me a visibility guru because basically you're bringing every woman on to show their story. So you're giving them that visibility. So what kind of significant role besides doing that you want to portray or something that you used within your business to like increase visibility, not just for yourself but for others?
I actually try to connect with as many other female entrepreneurs as possible, because I have found that other female entrepreneurs are very supportive because they're dealing with the same thing that you are. And I connect with them and ask them, what can I do for you? What is there something I can do? Because partnership in that way is powerful, very powerful. And you can do that without asking for anything in return. Can I highlight your business? Can I do a shout out for you? You just released a book. Can I shout out about your book? Anything. You would be surprised when you reach out to other female entrepreneurs and you connect with them and say, "How can I help you?" You'll be shocked at what comes back to you. It has stunned me more times than I can count when I have said, I believe in what you're doing. I just want everybody else to know. And then something always happens for the better. And there's elevation for both of you.
Yes. I love how you said that, because you're not just going in it just for thinking all about you, but you're thinking about the other individual. You're being like a servant type of leader in a sense. And then when that happens, automatically it's going to come back to you twofold. I always tell people that. When you out and you reach your hands out, believe me, it's going to come right back to you, even double, because you're opening your heart and you're saying, look, how can we help each other? We're both in this entrepreneurship world. I know you have the same type of things that I'm dealing with. And how can we just promote each other? And I want to say, before we're talking about visibility, well, I know you just won the 2022 Celebrate You Woman of the Year Award.
Yes.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's still a little weird, but yes, thank you. I mean, it's a weird thing when you think about it, because sometimes that self-doubt creeps in, and I have to ask myself, me? Seriously, me? There's 1,500 women from around the world that's part of this organization, and all of them are doing stuff they're killing it. They are changing the world, and I get picked to represent all of them, and that's just mind-blowing. That it's still, I have to think about it and go, really? But then I see the crown and I'm like, that's kind of cool.
I know. Remember, you got that crown. You have a crown, and you got that crown that's always on your head. So always remember both of those. But go ahead.
I put the crown where I can see it every morning.
Oh,
every morning, because it reminds me of a bunch of stuff. It reminds me to take care of myself, but it also reminds me to straighten other queens' crowns.
Oh, so you're just dropping that knowledge, that wisdom. I'm loving it. Yes. Reminds you of you, that you're a queen 1st. Mm-hmm. I love how you said that. And then it reminds you of help straighten out other people, other women and their queens. Because I always say start with yourself. So that's why I want to tell you again, congratulations for being, Woman of the Year, for Celebrating You 2022. And I know you said you're still kind of like, I couldn't fathom this. And I want you to know you deserved every bit of it. Because like I said, you have a heart of gold. The other women have a heart of gold too. But you really have this just uniqueness about you, Queen, that you just want to hear that value of other women and want it to stand out. So like I always tell people, when you put yourself out there for others, it just comes back to you, because you're just doing it willingly. You're just doing it openly, and that's what you do. You don't have no time. You don't be like, I put this platform out because I want to just people know how extraordinary the women are and what they're doing in the world.
Yeah, it was just really stunning to me. And I started with my friends, because I thought, there's no more fascinating people that I know than my friends. Mm-hmm. And nobody knew their stories. When I started with one of my friends who just turned 60 two weeks ago. She's a grandmother of 2. She is also, in her age group, she's a champion. She is the number 1 water skier in the US in her age group, and she's in number 5 in the world. Yeah.
Oh my God, wow.
Yeah. Nobody knew what an amazing woman that she is, because she's also very classy and she's very well spoken, and she keeps all of that under wraps. I'm like, why? Other people need to know.
Yes, yes. And see, that's where going back to the visibility part that I just wanted to mention again, how you do it so well. I mean, if you never heard, if she never got on your show and she never told her story, in fact, if she never told you, first of all, and then they
Yeah.
get on your show, and then we wouldn't hear it, and we'd be like, wait a minute. Again, giving us awareness of her, how real she is, what she's doing, and then giving us hope. So you have individuals that are her age or maybe get to her age or even after her age to say, you know what, you can still do it. You can still go out there and be who you want to be.
You can
Amazing.
do whatever it is that you want. Absolutely. The only thing that stands in line between you and what you want is your brain. That's
Mm.
it.
Ooh, another mic drop. You dropping stuff all over the place.
You give me a microphone and that's what.
I love it. I love it. So what I want to do is I want to take myself down for a few seconds, and I just want you to just leave any lasting thoughts for the audience, and then I'll come back up and wrap it up and make sure that they know where to contact you. So I'll be right
All
back.
right. Sounds good. All right. Since it's just you and I'm going to tell you something that has changed my life. Go outside your comfort zone. You don't have to go that far, just right outside your comfort zone. Why? Because there is magic waiting for you out there. Just pure magic. If you just release those boundaries that you've built up for yourself and step a toe out, you will be remarkable. You will be amazed, and it will be remarkable on what happens for you and what happens to you. So step outside your comfort zone and just watch magic happen.
OMG. I'm still sitting here and I'm down here like, okay, I want more. I want more. Tell me more. Andrea, tell me more. Oh, so much wisdom, so much wisdom. And I want to make sure we're going to make sure we put down here how they can contact you. But can you also let everybody know how they can contact you to get on the podcast and just to get with you on any other thing regarding the visibility that you do for women?
Yes. So I have a website. My website is womeninthearena.net. I'm on all the socials, and my handle on all the social, which is LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, is Women in the Arena Podcast. And if you just want to connect with me, and you can connect with me direct, you can send me an email at audra@womeninthearena.net. And if you do go onto my Instagram, there is, in my link tree, there is a calendar. Please go out there and go ahead and schedule 30 minutes with me so you and I can talk about what your story is and what you want to say on the podcast. I talk to every single person that reaches out to me, every single one that says I want to talk to you and see if this is a right fit for the story. Now I have to admit that not every story is ready for prime time. That doesn't mean that it's not in the future, but there's some that aren't necessarily ready to go. But that's okay because I'm not going anywhere. I'll wait until they're ready. But I want to talk to each and every one of you that reaches out to me.
Wow. Wonderful. So again, I have Mrs. The Queen down here. I have her website. Please reach out to her if you're looking to tell your story. If you're looking to, just give hope and give just awareness of what's going on in your world, because you're always, no matter what it is, your story is going to touch somebody out there. Even if it's just one person, right, Andra? Just if it's just one person.
You'd be stunned. You'd be stunned what your story will do. You have no idea who it's meant for and who it's going to inspire. I can tell you right now, there's 70 countries that are now an audience. So your story you might be from the US, but somebody in Portugal may hear your story and it may change their life. You never know.
Oh, come on, people now. Yeah, you definitely, who's ever listening here, get to this website. I mean, in just 70 different countries, people can hear your story and you could be giving hope and maybe healing somebody or even saving somebody's life from what your story brings. So, Queen Audra, thank you so much for coming on the Visibility Corner. I appreciate you so much. You're always welcome back. Your family to me. And congratulations again to 2022 being Celebrate You Woman of the Year. You totally deserved it. And we truly appreciate you being on the show. You take care.
Thank you, and I appreciate the invitation. Thank you so much.